Hey guys, welcome back to What Next, and this week we're going to go ahead and cover Caught Stealing. Now, I saw this in the theaters, loved it, saw that it popped back up on Netflix recently, so I went ahead and watched it again and thought, perfect opportunity to go ahead and do a What Next on this one. I was thinking of doing one on this one anyways, luckily for me it popped up, so right place, right time. So for those of you who haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, go ahead and jump on Netflix and watch this while it's still there. I'm sure you can rent it on Prime. Everything's on there for rent for the most part. For those of you who have seen it, and should be a lot of us by now, let's jump into it. So I recently watched this the other day, taking notes mentally, and I was almost kind of like, well, what would be next? Because mostly everybody, if you look down here in the poster, mostly everybody's dead at the end of the movie, as we all know. So what I'm curious is, obviously we have our main character, Hank. So we see Hank, he's off in Tulum. He takes, Detective Roman's idea to go to Tulum. I don't know if he's going to start over there or if he's just going to kind of do a reset. You know, he's got about $2 million with him to kind of play around with. So I'm curious what happens to him next, because clearly he can't really go back to where he was living. You know, he's kind of wanted for murder. Everybody knows he's involved in this big old thing. Probably wanted for many murders at this point. But he does steal Russ's ID at the end, so he's posing as Russ. So who knows where he goes from here. He has a great relationship with his mom, so I know he's not going to just kind of leave her high and dry. We saw he sent her $2 million too, so I'm kind of curious where he goes from here. Like, he kind of puts, the baseball thing behind him, like, okay, that was a part of my life, it's over. Clearly he's had some crazy events happen within the last couple days, so I'm just curious where he goes from here and what he does. Like, does he stay in Tulum? Does he kind of just be like that rich beach bum that wants to just be left alone? Or does he take off somewhere else? Maybe, I don't think he goes back home. I think going home is too hot for him. Maybe he heads off to the UK because he's playing Russ. Like I don't know. Like, I'm just curious as to what would be next for him, because I think he goes and he's kind of in hiding. And the reason I think that is because, so again, with pretty much everybody other than Bud the cat. We'll talk about Bud the cat. So Bud the cat, I think, goes with Hank. Bud the cat is his little sidekick. I think some people catch up with Hank down the road. I think he's got to kind of get back in the mix of plotting and scheming now that he's got some money. I think he's got to try to find a fancy way to get away from some of these people that are after him. Obviously, Bud's along for the ride. You'll see maybe Bud gets a little more interactive if there ever was a sequel. Clearly, Bud doesn't like people that he doesn't like. If you have cats, if they don't like you, they don't like you. So Bud just doesn't like a lot of people. As you can see, he's a biter for most of the movie. Even though when you see Aronofsky kick him and give him a little curt, which is terrible. If you ever kick a cat, shame on you. So moving forward with him and Bud, I think they go off and I think they're just in hiding. Like, I'm not sure who catches up with them or what. Now, the reason I say catches up with him, so between the two Russian henchmen that were after him, Pavel's dead. Aronofsky, is kind of like a bulldog type guy. Last we see him, Hank just kind of, knocks him out. And he was kind of shocked he knocked him out. So that guy seems like a guy who's not going to give up. His buddy, I don't know if they're best friends or brothers, but his buddy is dead because of Hank, so I think he wants revenge from Hank, and I don't think he's going to stop going after Hank until he finds Hank. You also have the Drucker brothers, who are involved in the Jewish mafia. So I'm betting that the fact that Hank got these two killed, they're not going to let that slide, especially the fact that Hank ran off with $4 million of their dollars. So I'm guessing these guys are going after Hank, and they want him bad because they essentially want his money back, or want their money back, and if they're not going to get it, they want to kill Hank. So I think between those two... Oh, and then you also have... There's this mention of Igor. Igor's the top Russian mob boss who... I watched it again just to double check, but I didn't see the guy at all. Unless he was uncredited somewhere, but he gets mentioned a couple of times. There's Igor, the top guy. Everybody who works for Igor. And we don't see Igor. So clearly Igor is not going to be happy with Hank. Hank sent, the Drucker brothers in there to shoot up the place, killed a bunch of his guys, stole $4 million, or I don't even know how much money, because it was supposed to be divvied up. So I'm guessing at least $1 million of their money. So I think between the Russian mob wanting revenge for that, and then they finding out it's Hank's fault, I think there's a handful of people that are definitely on the lookout for Hank. So I think Hank is definitely on the run. Obviously, he's got money, so he can hide a little bit. Posing as Russ might come back to bite him because, clearly both of these mafia families know who Russ is. Russ was their guy that was the middleman. He was handling out the money. He was dealing. So, yeah, I'm curious to see, should this ever get a sequel, what would happen with Hank and Bud. I mean, I think clearly they're on the run. He's going to have to partner up with somebody along the way to kind of help him out. Maybe he does go back and befriends, I don't know, maybe the Jewish mafia because, Bubby, she liked him. But, obviously the fact that he got her two boys killed probably isn't going to help him a whole lot. But, yeah, personally, I think if we see a sequel out of this at all, it's going to be Hank and probably, like I said, a couple of people from the last one that we might recognize, but I think it's just going to be a whole new cast of people that are after him, and he's on the run, and he's got to find a way to clear his name, and essentially maybe save the day, or maybe that saving the day thing is clearing his name. But, some of these people know who he is, they know who his mom is, they know his backstory, so it's what happens with him from there. So, but let me know what you guys think. Again, this was a great one. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it. As always, checking in next time.